No, we're just sitting here and we're talking about this subject. We're talking about Germany. We're talking about the Nazi period of the 1920s, 1930s, the takeover by Hitler. And then we come to World War II, and we come to all of the atrocities that were committed. And then we ask ourselves, how is it possible that these things happened in a country that produced musicians of great talent, of a country that produced a Goethe and a Schiller of great literary talents, a country that produced paintings and artists? How is it possible that a culture like that could sink into this abyss into which they had fallen under the Nazi period? And I asked myself that question, and in my book I attempt a response, and the response briefly is just this: when you're living in a society when there are no checks on behavior, that there's no check in the way policies are enacted, when you're in a situation when there's no acceptance of any rule of law, that even some of the laws that were promulgated by Germany at one point were negated by another point. In other words, the answer to that question is, how is it possible? I would answer, yes, indeed it's possible. If there's no global rule of law, but there's no respect for legal procedure, then those things could happen in any country. In other words, it's not only a German problem, it's a human problem. And we need to think about things of that sort as a human issue rather than isolating it and pointing at one country alone.
Well, that's a good moment perhaps to throw it open to